Hello guys, it's Peter from PS Sound, and in this video we are going to check out why this BMW E39 system that we built may be one of the craziest systems we ever created. So some of you could see these real videos on our social feeds in the last few weeks. And I just wanted to take a moment and share this with you guys on YouTube as well. Many of you know that we don't really have that much time to share that much on YouTube anymore. It's quite frankly, it's a lot of work. And when we have long days in the workshop, plus the weekends are busy as well with meetings, competitions, plus me traveling the world, it's really difficult to find time. But I wanted to make sure to talk about this given project we had in Jimmy's BMW. Why? We will have an interview with Jimmy at the end of this video, a long session. We will have a lot of waffle about audio and madness. But the crazy thing is for me in this system is that we didn't quite plan it to be what it turned out to be. Why am I saying this? Every system obviously is different, every car is different, every client wants something different. We never build exactly the same systems, which sometimes can be frustrating, because when we found a matching, beautiful solution in certain cars, people should just copy it. They should buy the same car, build the same system, and they would be happy, but nobody does it. And of course, Jimmy had his own ideas about what he wanted to achieve in his car. He had some of the equipment already. And he came back this time for a week, and the plan was to do as much as we can, but we were planning to install mid-range drivers, the Steg MSS3 4-inch drivers in the dash, potentially our air motion tweeters, the AMTs, close to them on the pillars. And then I also mentioned to Gatti at the beginning of the week that we would do front sub as well, when it was a bit frightening to do all of that within a week, but we managed it. But we just fell into that week and then, okay, let's do whatever we can. We know the benefits of each and every single speaker installation in those given locations and the selection of speakers, what result we can get. But it turned out to be something more than what I expected. We use these drivers so many times that it can be a bit boring for some people. But again, after years and years of different driver selection, different installation techniques, different locations and applications, which we always emphasize that that's the most important thing in car audio to achieve the best results, not necessarily how much money you just, drop into the project and buy expensive gear. It's far from it. And Jimmy's project was never one of those where we could spend crazy money, but we wanted to make sure to get the best out of the given budget and the best drivers he can afford. So the AMT tweeters, no question about it. We will have a topic about that hopefully tomorrow. I can share a very special video with you guys, but I'm sure some of you already know what's coming, what I'm going to announce. But you know, that just works amazingly. It's a beautiful transducer. Then mid-range, that MSS3 just works. Any car we put it into, whether it's OEM location, custom location, it plays a very wide range. It's very dynamic, musical, and can take the beating as well, which is important for some people who want to listen to music loud. And we didn't even have time. That's the crazy thing. We had no time this given week when we did this installation to do the mid bass in this car. So, okay, we will deal with that because we know that that's very time consuming to sort out mid bass, which is always the most difficult part of any project. So we just did the front sub because the way we looked at it in the footwell, you could see from the real videos as well, it's very straightforward. The last couple of months we had so many front subs that it becomes almost like a routine installation task, and we can knock it out now pretty effectively in a couple of days, and always performs, of course. But he had amazing drivers for that task as well. He had the Phase Aliante linear drivers. Some of you don't know it. It's a driver from late 90s, early 2000s that now you can only really find secondhand if you ever find them. That's the crazy thing, especially in a good state. But they were considered to be some of the most accurate drivers in the past. And I would have to be very lucky to have the chance to put anything else against it and have A/B comparison to hear what gets so close to an Aliante when it comes to pure accuracy. And we knew that, okay, Jimmy has amazing drivers because he's a collector. Well, I know many audiophiles who just love finding deals and old school stuff for cheap. And he has several of the 12-inch drivers as well that we used one of at the back of his car, but we will have 3 at the back. Why not? If he has 4 of them, we can wire 3 and we can mount 3 in that huge trunk of that BMW. That's going to be another chapter. But I can talk a lot, sorry guys, but I'm excited because this is truly a special system. We finished it at the end of the week. We literally powered it on like 10 minutes before we finished the week, closing the shop well for Eddie. He left, he could only hear the front sub coming alive, and he could hear that, okay, that's tight, accurate, and 0 resonance, plenty of output too, performing great. What the rest of the system is going to be, we will see once we have a tuning session. Some of you guys who are on our Patreon channel as well, yes, it's in the description. The link to our Patreon channel is in the description. Check it out. There's so much content over there, it's crazy. That's why we share the first impressions with Jimmy unfiltered. We just took a video. I'm like, look guys, this is what's happening in this car. It's crazy. When we can tell from the start, when we power a system on and we check out each and every single speaker, how they perform. We have the initial measurements that we have evaluations of as well on Patreon. We can already see what we can achieve. And then we got to this stage where I was thinking, hang on a second. Yes, we knew we did tweeters, we did mids, we did front sub, and we still had the factory speakers in the factory application in the doors. These BMWs have 5.25-inch drivers in the doors in enclosures, tiny little 2-3 liter sealed enclosures. And at previous stage when Jimmy just put the amplifiers in, then he just wired his factory speakers up. We tuned it quickly, and it was still doing something amazing, considering we had factory speakers up front, 2-way and just passive. But we could put left and right through the DSP, tune it, and integrate it to the sub at the back, and it was already doing something very surprising to many people. But now we didn't have a dedicated mid-bass install. There was just no time for it. And then when we saw the response of the mids, we saw what the front sub was doing. I just had that moment. I'm like, okay, why don't we try to integrate the system without the mid-bass? And I only know one person who's done it multiple times. And this time I have to give credit to Lee at Platinum in Car. Many of you guys know him from the competition scene in UK plus Eurofinals. This April he won Eurofinals. He came back after many years, but he had competition cars in the past as well, and he built systems like this before. But I think he might have done really well with this system layout, similar to what we tried in Jimmy's BMW. He won with that system this April at Eurofinals in Master 5K category, I think. where he had large format mid-bass drivers in the dash and just a single front sub. So technically there's no left and right mid-bass, just large format mids on the dash. And from the dash, it doesn't matter how large drivers you have, you can never play down below 100, 120 hertz. It just doesn't have that loading and cabin gain from that location. It's not gonna give you that really snappy, punchy kick, but it can play low enough to give you the click and the location for the mid bass to left and right. And if you are lucky and you can tune well, then you might just pull it off and you can have a single front sub to integrate. Yes, some of you remember that I had this stage in my Honda as well back in the day, back in 2018 or something like that, many years ago. But at that time I pulled it off. It just didn't seem like the right thing to do, because I built enclosures for my 6.5s on the dash in the Honda, and even with enclosures I couldn't get them play lower from that location than just building them into the dashboard and just playing underneath the dash. Many people worry about having acoustical feedback with the mid-bass drivers playing down underneath the dash. They would enter back into the cabin. It's never really the case, because you have so much stuff underneath the dashboard. Maybe on driver's side you don't have that much, but you can put some filling underneath the driver and it's not going to come back. But that's not the reason why you cannot play lower than 100, 120 hertz, even with like 6.5s on the dashboard. It's just simply the location just doesn't support it. We have many videos about it, talking and explaining this situation on Patreon, where we have weekly topics. So if you are really crazy and want to jump into the deep water to learn about it, then you can check that one out as well over there. So Lee has done it multiple times, but somehow I never had the chance to really listen to those systems. You know, the system wasn't built by me, it wasn't tuned by me. You don't listen to the music that you really know so well when you jump into some of these cars for 5-10 minutes on meetings and competitions. Yes, it was doing amazing things, but it never gave me the impression from that short demo that I could try it or I should try it. And Jimmy's platform just turned out to be accidentally one of those system layouts where we thought, okay, we could try. Yes, we only had a 4-inch on the dash, not a 5.25, not a 6.5, but these 4-inch drivers are very capable. They have lower fast, they can play low, they can take the beating. And we did a test right at the beginning, just playing the mids with 130 hertz high pass filter. Yes, you need a 24 dB high pass filter, so you have to cut it off steep. But we sent it full tilt. The drivers were moving, yeah, easily like 2-3 mil. But they were coping, they were not distorting, they were not breaking up, no problem whatsoever. And then we thought, okay, we can give it a shot. And the Aliante 10-inch sub that we had at the front, that can work more like a mid-bass. It's so tight, so clean. It doesn't have that boominess, that hanging, inaccurate bass line like many subs have, which sound more like a sub, less of a mid-bass. This driver sounds more of a mid-bass, less of a sub, yet it can play low too. So there's a reason why many people always consider these drivers to be potentially some of the best sound quality drivers. And we also managed to push the sub closer to the center console, so it doesn't really fall so much far away from the center of the dash. Then it's not going to pull the center image so much in those low notes. Let's see. And the magic happened. Some people might be skeptical now, thinking, no, it cannot work, you know, having no mid-bass left and right. But if you think about it, we had so many videos about mid-bass, why it's always the most difficult thing to do, because you have one driver so close to you, because we sit offset, then the other drivers at such a different location, so further away, the cabin gain is different, the acoustical response from the drivers is so different. So to match left and right, it's always going to be a battle. And you put them in the kicks, it can help, firewall, whatnot, alternative locations, on the floor, underneath the seat, it doesn't matter. But there's another problem with integrating bass. Ooh, now I'm going crazy, right? It hasn't happened on YouTube for a while, it has to happen now. That's the reason why I wanted to take this video. So the biggest problem in car audio that we try to integrate so many drivers within such a short bandwidth because of speaker locations where we can put speakers. And if you think about it, in home audio, you don't have so many drivers within such a a short bandwidth, you know, playing within few octaves. They use one driver to play anything from the bottom end, potentially all the way up to 400-500 hertz, and that plays everything: the lower mid-range, the kick bass, the bottom end. Everything is coming out of a single speaker, so it's always so much purer. And it's also installed in a rock solid cabinet. There's no resonances, like when people say that, oh, doors can work. Bullshit. I don't even go into that, because then we will be here for a day. But now when you have a system like Jimmy's, where you have one bass driver up front that can play from like 40 hertz all the way up till we can integrate it to the mid, and we crossed at around 140 hertz acoustically. So that might be a bit too high to many people to think that you can integrate it, especially to driver side from passenger side. And the thing is, bass is usually mono below 100-120 hertz. Yes, you have few songs where you have left, right, deep notes, but even in that case, if you have a very accurate front subwoofer or woofer and you can integrate it, time it, the mid-range, if it's capable to play low, it's gonna pull the location there, and you will still get the body from the driver's side, even if you don't have a bass driver over there. Yes, in an ideal world, if you could have a location for a front woofer in the center underneath the dash, that would be amazing, but there are not many cars that have that space. New electric cars have a good chance for that, because they don't have transmission tunnel. So some of those look pretty promising for this type of layout. If you can have very capable large format mids on the dash, then yeah, potentially you could do really well. However, now people think that, okay, Pete says that now this is the new trend, right? Let's try it without mid bass, and he says it's gonna sound so much cleaner, more accurate. But the thing is, finding a subwoofer for the front that can play so accurate and clean, that's going to be the real challenge. And I know that Lee has been really working hard to find the right driver that can do that too. That's the tricky part. We don't want a subwoofer that sounds like a subwoofer, because that's going to make everything muddier, hanging, and then it's just not working. In Jimmy's car, it's ridiculous. People will have to hear this car. He's in Netherlands, but he's going to travel to different locations in Europe to take this car to a few events. I even told to him that the car was not built for competition. We didn't even measure if we have enough distance that Emma requires for a front subwoofer installation, if we can maintain the same distance. Like they measure it from driver's side seat to the closest pedal. We have to maintain the same distance on passenger side if the seats are lined up. If the front woofer installation is closer and you have less distance, you get 3 points deduction, and then no matter what you do, it's really annoying if you lose out in competition because of that, let alone Twitter installation and everything else. We will lose so many points. But then the point of this car wasn't to meet all the competition requirements, it was to build an amazing sounding car, right? And it just all came together, but we will talk about it at the end as well with Jimmy, right when we had the first impressions after the tuning session. You will see I was pretty shocked, still am. But that was not one of the reasons why, not the only reason why that car turned out to be so great. So I had a video back in the day, like 4 or 5 years ago, about, you know, sound quality in cars, that whole playlist, to break it down for beginners, what we want to achieve and how we get there when it comes all the way from the source to the amplification, speaker installation and all of that. And that was part 6 in that playlist, where we were talking about amplification. I always said that for me, that's the least important thing, which doesn't mean that it's not important. It is, but it's the least important. Speaker installation is way, way, way more important when you look at the whole project, how good transducers you use, how well you install them and integrate them together. And that's when tuning comes into play. And we use these drivers, mids and tweets, so many times, even the amplifier, and we know what the limitation is. Yet in his car, we just achieved something that I haven't had till that stage. And another door opened up, and I was shocked. Because getting magic from a Helix V8 usually doesn't happen. I mean, I got goosebumps in cars built with Helix V8s and V12s. That's not the problem. and they don't do anything wrong. They have plenty of headroom, they are compact, they don't have floor noise. They have, I can't say many bad things about them. Okay, maybe they don't deliver emotion so easily, but quite often that might just be also because of speaker selection and tuning. Because in his car, all that came together. Even that happened in Jimmy's car. Yes, we used a very special speaker cable. I will talk about it at another time, and I will have to get stock of that cable because there's something magical happening with that. And I was always against, you know, putting too much effort and too much thought into speaker cables. But in his car, there was no other variable other than that, and I will have to find time. I always say that I don't believe in something until it's proven. And many of you on YouTube, you're looking at all these videos, all these cars we build, and you are skeptical. How on earth all these cars can sound so great? You know, Pete always says that this is amazing, that's amazing. And people only understand it until they come to our meetings. That's why I travel so much, to show what we do, what cars we deliver, what tuning can make to a system. Even if you just have 1 or 2 hours for tuning, how much you can get out of a system. And for me to get surprised, that's rare. And that's why this car is special, because I was surprised in many ways because of the front sub, having no mid bass, getting the top end detail out of the car that I never expected. And then we did few other things in his car that I tried for the first time. And I don't even want to talk about everything, because so far it's at a stage even for me when I really have to prove it several times to see what new thing we can bring in. Like many people know, I use differential rear fill in many of our cars. Some of the people I met Far East or in America, they never really experienced it properly, and I showed it to them, and now they can't live without it. So that's one thing I play with. But then now I tried something else to enhance room information and realism in a car, and that also worked out in Jimmy's car. And it's just like, what? You know, that's the crazy thing. We never approached this project to do it in a week, do as much as we can, and then see what happens. You know, he's gonna come back next phase in a few months' time when he has free time, and see where we get. And then it just all came together with minimal effort compared to other crazy cars we build. And he doesn't have expensive amplifiers in it, the expensive DSP and things like that. None of that. Yes, people can say that the platform, the car itself is a very good choice. It was built at the era when they were not saving so many things out of a car the way it was built. And we saw it when we pulled the dashboard out. We could see what the dashboard was built from, and million times better materials than what we face in new cars these days. And nothing is buzzing and rattling. You know, you grab the handle on the door, there's no squeaking noise, nothing. It's firm, it's solid. It was designed completely differently, so the car is good. And in order to achieve the stage where I always say the most difficult thing in car audio, which was in our fancy studio video as well, when we were talking about who we are and what we do at PS Sound, I started the video literally saying the same thing, that the biggest achievement in car audio is when we lose the hardware. When we don't listen to the speakers, when we don't listen to the environment, we just listen to the music, and then, you know, A-pillars, the windscreen, everything disappears, and then you are in a different space that your brain cannot comprehend. How is it possible in a car? And yeah, for that we have to get rid of all the buzzes, all the rattles. That's why speaker installation, solid installation is so important. That's why soundproofing is so important. And it all came together in his car within a week. And what else is coming to his car, I have no idea. But guys, you will definitely have to check this system out whenever there's a chance. Jimmy can go somewhere because he's a teacher. He doesn't have much free time, but when he has a chance to go to events, meetings, I will make sure to promote him, because I'm sure he will be happy to show this system to many people, because he's an audiophile. This was his dream, to get a system that plays amazingly, and his car is beyond that. It's a super special system that even Eddie hasn't heard yet. Sadly, he will. But I have so much faith in this project and in this system, that now this has just opened up so many doors. People will have to listen to it in order to believe that it's not hype. It's not hype. It's just something that I always want. In every single car we build, we want something special. We don't just put speakers into factory locations behind door cards and put the most expensive speakers there just to flash the money, take a nice picture. You know, we always do the extra effort to look at more optimal speaker location, better application, better transducers, things like that. That's what we always focus on. Many of you know that. And that's it. I finished my part here. From now on, we will walk through the car with Jimmy. You will see exactly what's in it right now. And then you will see the interview with him as a first impression right after we tuned the car, we listened to it. We just couldn't leave. We finished the car late because he was going back on Saturday to Netherlands. We finished, I don't know, probably at like 9 o'clock with the tuning session. And then we just had so much listening. So many things we had to figure out how it's possible, how it can work in the car so well. And then we just got back, we listened to more music. And then at the end, we left at like 1:30 in the night. I couldn't let the car go. And it was the first time that I sat back into my own S-Class that many of you have seen long videos of. And yeah, I know the limitation of an OEM project that I have in the S-Class, where speakers are behind factory grills. You're limited on the mounting applications and rigidity. You are limited on aiming. You're limited on so many things in an OEM project. Yes, we got amazing results out of that car, but that was the point. That's an OEM project. Whereas Jimmy's is a car where we could put speakers where we wanted them to be. And yeah, sorry if I waffled too long. It had to happen. I had to find time to do it. Actually, it's a Sunday 11 p.m. when I'm shooting this video for you guys, just so I can share this with you, because I just love this shit. And yeah, okay. Enjoy the rest of the video. Hopefully you're still with me. Hopefully you will hear this car at some point. It's definitely worth to put it on your map and your timeline to hear this car once in your lifetime, because it's magic. It's crazy. So oh yeah, enjoy. Come on, Jimmy, let's show what we did. More exactly, we can show what you did the last time when you were here, because that was stage 1 when you build that, right? Yeah. So we have a V8, and behind that in the rack there's a M1X from Helix. M1X runs a phase Aliante 12 in just a standard box. What is that, probably like a cubic foot, 28 liter? It's not. Maybe 20. It's not. No, it's more than that. Okay. I think it's easily 1 cubic foot. Okay. And then the V8 now runs. Yeah, we go through that because it's a bit different than how we anticipated, but yeah, that gives us 8 channels for all the components. Then on the other side, we can also show that we added an extra monoblock over there, just an M1, the smaller version for the front subwoofer. And then that's where we have the power distro, which is great that you have the battery so close. So it was easy power run. So yeah, it's great that, you know, you put the panels back and this car is fully functional and practical. Yeah. OEM looking. You were lucky that you had that space. Yeah, I was lucky because originally you have here the OEM battery point or OEM amplifier you have here. Yeah, on that side. Yeah. Yeah. And then this is where this week's madness happened, where we knew that we wanted to do mid-range for sure in the dash. Then we were hoping we could do tweeters, but then that was time limited, so we had a temporary solution just for now. And then I thought, when Eddie asked me, okay, what are we doing this week? I'm like, oh, we're doing front sub as well. His eyes opened up a bit. Ooh, okay, that's gonna be a fair amount of work, but then, yeah, we made it happen. We have a front sub as well. And for that, we have to pull the trim panel out, if you don't mind. At least you can practice how that trim comes out. So yeah, we just made a protective panel in front of it, carpeted over with many holes on it, so the pressure can come through the carpet. Yeah, just a bit of glue at the back and many holes, and then it plays through that easily. It doesn't limit the output or the sound or anything, but it protects it from
Dust and crap.
and feet,
Yeah.
because people can rest their feet on it. So that's the 10-inch version of the Aliante, because Jimmy likes to collect these subs, and some of the sound quality fans from early 2000s. Oh, hang on, did they start these late 90s maybe?
Yeah, late 90s.
Yep, I had the 10, I had the 12, I had all these subs, and they definitely played accurate, but I gave up on ordering them because unfortunately it's something you can't find anymore, and if you find one or two coming up on the market, it's really tricky. Running a business with those is impossible.
Yeah.
If only we had anything like that these days, that accurate. Yeah, at least we were lucky that you had these. So then the mids ended up just like that. We took the grill off them. Some people were asking how we did that. Usually the protective grills are just glued in. There's a bit of a glue in that edge, and it's pretty easy to pull it up. You just literally use a small screwdriver and then carefully poke it up and it will let go. If you want to put the grill back, that's tricky though. And then we made a speaker cloth version, 3D printed version, so this way it doesn't poke the eyes. It's in an ideal location against the windscreen, close to it, so we get the desired response that we need. And then the AMTs ended up on the pillar. Yes, they're a bit pissed. It was a temporary quick solution. We had to 3D print a 2-part solution, so the back is printed on an angle, and I can't even show it. It's bolted to the pillar and the speaker cable runs through it. So yeah, that was the quick job. Conductor is there, and yeah, people can ask where the mid bass is, and I think that's gonna be the part when we talk through our findings, how the system came together to become so special. Yeah, Jimmy's saying the next car for me is E39, yeah?
It's not for sale, this one, but I can lend it to you if you want.
It's nothing to do with the car.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I don't know, but I don't have any words, but I told you already, it's like the dream from I was 14 years old and listening to so many systems, home systems, car systems, but this absolutely blew my mind. It's
So the guys probably saw our our first impression when we just turned it on and we were smashing the system, and that was very impressive. That we didn't feel like we had to use the mid bass in the car, which doesn't perform anyway. And then the tuning session happened, so we are, I don't know, spent like hour and a half, 2 hours to tune it.
Yeah.
And then in the last 30 minutes we were just listening to the system, and I'm somewhat fucking shocked. I feel a bit like when in roughly 2017-18 I cracked the code. For so many years I was struggling to get consistency and get everything integrated and get proper solid pinpoint staging done. Then I cracked the code, how to use my knowledge from live sound engineering and tuning and whatnot, and how to get solid, consistent results in a car. That's when we went to Salzburg. We brought several trophies home, and then maybe people thought that, Pete was lucky. Then in 19 we did it again. Everybody who I helped, even who were not on my team, everybody who I helped, like today I mentioned that even in SQL, when I helped the guys at Euros, they won. Not many people know that. And then of course during COVID I had more time to sit down to learn how to teach it as well. Then the training kicked off. Some of the guys do better than anything I've seen before, like in Hungary. Sim tuned the car better than me. That was crazy. But now we are sitting in Jimmy's car, where this week started a bit like, what are we doing? Whatever we can.
Yeah.
Like, no, we had a rough idea. We knew that we would have to install mid and tweet. That was given. And then because Jimmy brought so many speakers, well, let's do front sub as well. Let's do this, that. And I couldn't even really put everything into this car this week, because I was dealing with handovers, with tunings, with
Clients,
so many other bullshit that probably out of, let's say, the 50 hours we spent in the shop in 5 days, I probably spent 20, 25 building this box, maybe half of it. And he did what he could do. And so many things I'm not even happy with the way it turned out in terms of installation. But then the raw result that we experienced was crazy. Now we tuned the car, and I'm like, it might be a bold statement, but I say it again. I told it to Jimmy earlier. I've never heard anything like this in a car. Nobody's, not ours.
No.
Anybody globally I travel to, I haven't heard any car doing things like this car is doing when it comes to tonal accuracy, realism, space. And we are also running on a fucking Helix V8.
Yeah, nothing special really, like. So the debate was also, what if we change the amplifiers, but is it really needed?
I
could live
to be
with the
fair now,
system
after this
every day.
result, I wouldn't touch it just for the sake of representing it to people that, hey,
what is possible?
You can do it with a cheap amp, which doesn't do anything wrong. That's why I told people that the V8 has been my favorite, because we use it so many times and I've never been disappointed in terms of quality when it comes to top end. Top end mainly always depends on the speaker itself that you start with. I mentioned it so many times that if something doesn't come out of a speaker to start with, you're not going to be able to tune it back into it. If there's detail missing, it's missing. That's where we had that little test we shared with Eddie on Patreon when we tested 11 pairs of tweeters. We recorded it, and even through the recording, people could hear one tweeter is doing one thing, the other tweeter is doing the other thing. I always tell to people, just grab the speaker, listen to it in the air. Okay, it's not possible with a mid-bass driver necessarily, but with a tweeter it's that easy. 1, 2, mute, unmute, and just back and forth, A, B, A, B. Okay, this tweeter is doing this, that tweeter is doing that. Of course, you have to know what songs you listen to. Like something with really well recorded instruments, cymbals especially. I'm a sucker for cymbals. And it was so easy to hear that one tweeter is just representing the top end so mushy and unrealistic, and some tweeters sounded plasticky. It didn't sound like a metallic cymbal. It sounded just off.
But
and then there were a few tweeters which were very good, and then there were a few tweeters which were like, holy shit. So now we have holy shit tweeters in this car, not to suck up our own tweeters, but there's a reason why we made these tweeters our own. Then
if I'm in UK, I'm happy to demonstrate. I can now say,
mate,
come,
you have to take this car everywhere.
I told you.
If you're bored of Netflix and whatnot, just show it to people for the sake of.
I told you already. I had the plan to go to visit many car shows in Holland to let people experience, what is possible in a car. It's I don't know what to say anymore. It's like
okay, we had the possibility to try something new in your car today.
Of course.
We we tried side fields in the car today too. Not many people play with rear field, with differential rear field. I always explain to people what it is, and why do you need that? And then when I represent it to them, they're like, wow, that's cool. Actually, wow, without the differential rear field, things are just not so realistic. The space is not there, and sticking to the good old competition expectations to have left, right, center, left, center, right, center, and all that. That's a set rule for competition where they have to compare cars one to the other. Which car does those technical things better? But ultimately, it's about creating
the experience that you can
realistic experience. And what your car is doing now is just beyond anything I've come across with. We have the fucking S-Class in front of us with mega crazy money and time spent on it.
One amplifier is, I think, the budget of this car, maybe, or something. I don't know, but the DSP in that car is almost as expensive as the whole gear. Well, your subs are not cheap in this car. I mean, in today's price, the phase Aliante 10 at the front and 12 at the back. Or if we have 3 at the back at one day. Oh, we will.
Then it's not going to be cheap.
We will.
But like in today's market, if we wanted to represent that quality and accuracy with subs, I struggle to name
only acoustic elegance, maybe?
Well, when it comes, at the low end, that's crazy. It's very accurate to represent the low end, but when it comes to upper bass, how do you implement an acoustic elegance in a car? For upper bass, you know. But when it comes to accurate upper bass, going up into the 100 plus, like in your car currently, we are doing quite an extended upper bass range, and he's just doing it like that. He's just laughing at us like, the fuck? And maybe Morea Ultimo was the only one where we felt like this is a beautifully accurate sub. Maybe we should try the 10. But it's difficult to compare it if you don't have another driver right next to it, or just remembering that Jimmy's car, that's how we had the front sub performing. That this memory now is burning into my brain like crazy, that's for sure, so I will remember. But it's difficult when we design a new system and tell people that, hey, we have to use these speakers and single sub costs like $1,000, $1,500, then it's painful. Now you are using subs which are at that level, but you bought them for peanuts. And it's beautiful that we have such amazing bass drivers in the car. And it's beautiful that we have the good old trusted cheap Steg mids which do nothing wrong in the car.
No, they're not cheap, mate. They are awesome. There's nothing bad to say about it.
And then we found these tweeters, which was, I think, just faith. I was always struggling with top-end reproduction anywhere. And then these just do silly things. There's a good reason. Like today, we were watching the Burmeister high-end, whatever,
video,
$500,000 dollar system, whatever, online on YouTube, and
it had also Mundorf in it.
And they were not hiding. They said, hey, we are using German products in our speakers. We are using Mundorf air motion tweeters as well, and we are proud because they do something amazing, and they are built in Germany. And that's just one. There are dozens of manufacturers, speaker builders in home audio that use Mundorf tweeters, and we are doing the same thing, and we are not having a $500,000 system.
Wow, I'm telling you,
I really feel like this should be like $5,000.
I went for
what they do.
Home audio shows and listening to setups from 100k, 200k, but not impressive enough for me to justify a price tag like that, and what you get from the music reproduction itself. And now it's like Helix V8. What is it, like 2,500 euros, maybe 3.5, maybe 5,000 here in total.
Oh,
in the
total,
car.
And
then I'm like, man, where can you experience something like this?
This is stupid.
Go and find it, Good
this
luck.
Is really silly what's happening in this car right now.
Even at the level it's now playing and we are talking, you can already hear what potential.
After all these trips I talk to people, especially in America, where now I have few cars which truly do amazing things, and I keep saying to people to go to here Glenn's car, you know, here Lewis's truck, then here Ramsey's Mercedes, here Chris's car, and so many of these cars, or anything that I've had good experience with, go and listen to those cars because they do something special. And then yet, at the moment, I would, whatever we achieved here in a week, half-assed
that's silly.
effort, it's not, it's literally not fair.
It's fair. You work hard for it. Come on.
Well, okay,
No,
maybe we
don't
can. What's happening here is probably a bit of luck. And the past 20 years.
Come on, you worked hard for that fucking front sub. Nobody would go so far as you went for it.
I could have gone further.
Yeah, I know, but you spent crazy, and Eddie did also with fabrication of the dash.
In time, not so many hours went into the front sub, but I think it's just because now we've done so many.
You built it so solid, and
we kind of mastered the whole fabrication of a front sub, and this was simpler than doing bends, which was very complex. That was very complex.
You didn't cut any corner. You went full blown everything, and that also proves again, people, it's location, application, but also the install and the tuning, people. The tuning, it won't unlock the potential. So solid mounting, rigid mounting, making stuff dense and heavy, all those things, they matter. They matter. Forget about building a system with the fancy stuff and blah blah blah. Just follow this path and you will get there, because now I'm experiencing it. I had good faith already in Peter for so many long times, but I never expected that my car would sound this amazing. And with the first setup with only crossovers, I was like, what the fuck, is this my car? Have my prayers been heard for all those 40, since I was 14 years old, and now I'm like 46 years old, and I'm experiencing this in my own car. And God bless me, I have tomorrow a drive for like 4, 5, 6 hours.
More than that.
I have my Tidal streaming, and come on, hit the road. What can I say anymore? It's like,
it's even a dream to me.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. Why didn't I meet people like Peter from I was like 18 years old, driving my first car, having a shop,
because Peter was playing in the sand.
Yeah, I know, but
oh, I was told this in America. Yeah, that was.
Yeah. If I had met you when I was 18 years old and having my first Golf or whatever car I was driving at that time, man.
A 10-year-old, I tell you, because I was 10 at that time, I tell you what I was doing at the age of 10.
Yeah.
I think that was the time when I got my first radio from grandma.
Oh, okay.
A Tesla radio.
Wow. Cool.
Which had a speaker output.
Yeah.
One of those old DIN plugs where you have a straight and a pin.
Yeah.
And I had no clue where to find a pin or plug to plug in and then have a cable so I could connect it to anything. So I just shoved the speaker cables into it, and it worked.
Yeah, it worked.
And I could hook any speaker onto it, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Because the radio had just like a I don't know, like a 6x10 centimeter tiny oval speaker in it built into it.
Ones,
but then the output was 2 watts. Woo! Yeah. And then you had treble bass, and I could hook up speakers on it. And I was doing silly things. I found speakers, and I'm like, hang on, what happens if I put that speaker in a fish tank? I made a bandpass box out of it.
We have the same shit.
Doing
we have the same
stupid things. I'm like, what about if I put that speaker in the foyer when you enter the flat, and then it sounds different there. And then it just took me down on a road where it never stopped.
For me, exactly, it started the same. I was like 12, 13 years old. It was my birthday. I got 50 guilders, like 20, 25 euros something at the time. And I went to a shop. It was a big warehouse, and they had like an alarm clock from Philips. It was. And it had a tiny little wideband speaker in it. And I was amazed because I had music for myself for the first time. I had the freedom to listen to radio stations and blah blah blah. And one day I was like, okay, how to get better sound out of it? And I got a 6.5 inch coaxial speaker from the brand Panasonic from somebody I knew. And he gave it to me because the other one was blown up and one was good. And I was hooking it up into, I cut the wires from the wideband speaker and I hooked it up to that speaker and I was like, wow. And then one nighttime I got the inspiration and I get to my mom's kitchen and she had a washing powder box from 20 liters something. It was 20 kilograms. I steal the box, I put the washing powder into a bucket and shove it into the cabinet again, and I went sneaking back to my bedroom. And in the nighttime I was cutting it out with a knife, putting the speaker in, and I was sealing it up with packing tape because that is what I had. And man, it sounded so amazing. It was like, wow. And then it started to me, you know, sound, the chase, and becoming more and more, yeah. And today I'm at the stage, I have it in my car, but
well, okay, we gotta mention we jumped probably 20 years, but
yeah, of course.
Some people
struggle.
What I want to say, from that point, 20 years, you were at the stage 20 years ago when Jimmy actually helped potentially one of the most well-known car audio installers in the world. I'm not talking about Monson.
No, I know.
Yeah, you had Brian over there, and you built some crazy systems with him.
But never sounding like this. Never. No, the aim there is very different. So, yeah.
Well, loud and clear is of course pretty much the base standard for everybody to have a dynamic loud system, especially like in a sport car. It has to be loud.
People listen to that JBL Bluetooth speaker. So, wow, that sounds amazing. You know, it's like that effect there is created in that company. So it wasn't for me, but the level of detailing, and I like Fef doing shit and like, you know, going crazy about. But I wasn't finding that you know, this is what you're doing and this is what I.
Well, you really need a car where you can really appreciate fine quality.
Yeah.
That's when people say that in a loud sport car it's almost pointless to build a quality system because you will not appreciate the fine tiny little details. But then if we had the system in any sport car, why wouldn't you enjoy it?
Why wouldn't you enjoy it? Yeah. So that's bullocks.
Maybe it's the wrong environment, but you can still make it sound good.
You build it as best as you can.
Yeah.
So
a good system is always going to perform better than a poor system.
And we were starting there with speakers in a ported box, and you heard port noise all over the place, and I was like, this is pointless, man. Just use one 10-inch subwoofer that is good and happy to play in a tiny sealed box, and then you will have a better
output is also important.
Yeah, I understand, but for that car with detail and finesse and everything, the match should be different. And if you want to deliver a very good sounding car, then people will get addicted to it, you know, because it's so good. People didn't hear it, so
there's a reason why you're here.
Yeah, I'm spending my freaking holidays here. I'm like,
when did you come over first?
This is holiday for me.
2 years ago.
But I bought the blue one.
It was the old shop when we were building the Cayenne.
2 years ago, yeah.
Jimmy came over for a week when 1 or 3 days, I think.
Yeah.
When we were building the Cayenne, the Porsche Cayenne with Ecutons and whatnot, and we were doing the trim panels for the trunk at the time. We were doing the straight lines and all
the straight lines and the designing from the.
And then Jimmy just called me, Pete, I'm having holiday. Can I come over? But you called me like a few days before that. I'm like, sure. And I told to Eddie, I'm like, Jimmy's coming over. Who's that? Friend from Holland. Okay. And I'm like, he's gonna be here for a few days. All right. And it was great. We were like, new person in the shop, and we had a great vibe. You were not in the way. You could help us well.
You had a beautiful kitchen. I could cook something for you. Yeah. It was
Oh yeah.
nice to do. Nice experience.
You brought those.
The chips.
No, those sauces.
Oh yeah,
in the little
yeah,
plastic
the plastic, soya
cans
sauce
or
and ketchups
whatever,
and
yeah.
everything, and the spices and.
That was such a big amount at the end. I left it there when we moved. I'm like, what do I do with it? It's
It
crazy.
doesn't matter.
But yeah. And then a few times Jimmy came over again. Last time you came over, oh, I'm just gonna do my thing in the background. Sure.
Yeah.
And then we were bushing you. Look, come on, your system is not playing yet. Because then he fitted the V8 for the factory speakers and just dropped the sub in, and even that was like, wow.
Wow. People were amazed. They could experience it also at how do you call it, the camp last year in Hungary of last summer.
I tuned it in less than an hour because Jimmy was going home on a Saturday morning. And I'm like, hang on, when is your ferry? We looked at the time. Shit, you overlooked it a bit, mate. You gotta go. Peter was tuning like a madman. And then even that system was nice for what it was.
Audio camp, people listened to it and they loved it.
Yeah, not many people would have thought that you had factory speakers running passive up front.
Nobody was believing me. 22-year-old speakers.
Well, although today that mid-bass, just show the difference. We are so far away from the performance of that mid-bass in this car with the mid and tweet and everything else we did. That just no point to use it for what it was meant to be for, but use it for something else. And then actually, that's just another thing that added to the magic we managed to get out of this car. It is silly. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing with this video.
I don't know.
It's just
sharing,
maybe I just have
sharing.
to. I have because people always say that, Pete, why don't you record the first reactions?
Yeah.
People's first reactions. Well, it's not going to be genuine when people know that they have a camera in their face and then come on, lose yourself. It's like they put you on the spot when you try to lose your virginity and then
Show
on.
Show it,
No, it has. People have to get that freedom and that chance to just experience the systems for the first time without stress.
So when people come to UK and I'm here around, you can always come listen and.
What we screwed up, we didn't organize a meeting right after this. We could have stayed for the meeting.
Yeah. There's some things.
I know when your school holidays are.
Yeah.
We work around it. Pete, when is the meeting now? Oh, Jimmy's coming from Holland. Yeah.
No, it's really beyond imagination what we achieved today. For me, it's really.
Even for me now, I'm looking at my car and I'm like.
That's what I thought. You should buy an E39. Problem solved.
It's just not the car. It's not the car.
No, I'm joking. You have also a very awesome system. I loved every single minute I sat in it, and it will always be.
That's the thing when I said that, I feel like I managed to open another door.
Yeah.
Because even in competition where they judge tonal accuracy.
Yeah.
And they have a scale 1 to 30.
Yeah.
Of course, nobody is going to get full score because they have to leave room for improvement.
Yeah, but it's also impossible, I think, to get the full score. I don't.
In theory, if we achieve that, you play an amazing recording that can really make you feel like you are exactly there.
Yeah.
And it sounds so realistic that you cannot separate playback from reality.
Yeah.
It's like good example, maybe. I'm just coming up with this analogy now. You see all those people going fucking bollocks when they put VR on.
Yeah. Yeah.
In theory, it shouldn't be possible that people believe that they are there.
Yeah.
And yet you see them freaking out. You know?
Yeah.
So they achieve that in visuals.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't it be possible to achieve that?
Oh, I can achieve that.
Because we listened to a few songs which are very well recorded, and even on passenger side I was sitting here and I'm like I heard probably on shows I hear cars on the passenger side
Yeah,
more
yeah,
than
yeah,
than on driver's side when I have to demo our cars.
yeah.
And I tuned it. I listened to a few songs while you were cleaning the the workshop. And now I was just sitting here in the half an hour when you listen to the system, and it's beyond what I've experienced in any other car.
Yeah, absolutely.
I sent a message to Eddie because he left
Yeah.
after we finished the normal human days.
I sent a video
hours,
to Eddie.
and I just messaged him like, mate, we built a masterpiece. He hasn't responded yet. Let's see if he saw it.
You should tell him come back to the shop.
I should have told him to bring us pizza.
Yeah,
But
you can try.
No, he's not gonna do that.
No,
I would be crazy enough to do that,
Yeah.
but no. But we
Wow,
confidently
this is-
saying we built a
yeah.
masterpiece.
This is a
In
masterpiece.
sound,
Yeah,
it is.
sound,
It is
Yeah, yeah.
stupid in many ways, and you know, people can get amazed when it comes to dynamics, output. That's where the Honda is.
Yeah, of course.
And that's when
yeah.
that's where I say
Yeah.
that people are like, which one is better? Is it the S class? Is it the Honda?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, they tick different boxes.
Yeah.
Overall, they get to the same result, just differently.
Mhm.
But they both have something that's holding back to open that extra door where you just get beyond. I always say that I have my 1 to 10 scale, and I have to leave room for improvement, where if I put Eddie's, mine, and the Honda probably to a 9, what's beyond that? I think now we open another door. What I experience in this car now, and if I can add that to all of our
Yeah,
cars,
yeah.
we will just step above.
That's amazing.
Because in my S class I have the limitation of OEM. Certain things I cannot do until I give up on it.
Yeah.
If I give up on that,
Mm-hmm.
I will lose the whole OEM design in the car.
Yeah.
We will have speakers on display and things like that. We need a demo car where we don't show
No.
speakers physically. But how do you go? That comes with limitations.
Yes.
That's my problem with that. Even if we put the most expensive gear we
problem,
could
but-
afford,
Yeah.
yes, we could spend 5 times more money on equipment, but it
Yeah.
wouldn't change it.
No.
And today, this is the perfect example when we have relatively cheap gear compared to like the S-Class or many
Yeah, yeah.
high-end cars that we see globally,
Yeah.
with audio wave amps and Accuton diamonds
Everything.
and
Yeah.
micro precisions and crazy cable.
No, don't mention it. Eddie thought it will sound like jewelry. So it
Because we
happened.
are using micro precision speaker cables, which have silver in them too.
Yeah.
Now,
That's the trick.
I-
I didn't want to
I-
say anything to you,
I-
but no,
I don't know, man.
I have to pay respect to Thomas because he gave it to me. Like I was visiting him and he gave me like 30 meters of that cable. I was dreaming always to use it actually in my
No,
own
you know
car.
what? Just because
Yeah.
what I experienced in
Yeah,
this car,
yeah.
I will
Yeah.
make sure that during winter we find a
Yeah,
day when we
yeah.
will do speaker cable
Yeah,
test.
Yeah,
Because I have Mundorf
Yeah.
pure silver cable too.
yeah, yeah.
Different
But
types. They gave me.
Thomas already told me he builds also for certain clients. He builds custom cables and stuff like that. He doesn't do it on the regular basis. but-
Well, he doesn't make this cable.
Well, he assembles stuff and he sorts out which cable, what type of material he will use. You understand?
Yeah, but he doesn't make.
No, actually
the
not
reel.
the real, but the real
He just did a study. He did a study.
He did a study and he let it made custom for his own needs, if I've clarified it well. And then he told how many strands and how he wants it. And that's the same with this speaker cable, but he also makes RCA.
If we do the
cables.
test and we
Yeah.
can hear audible difference,
Yeah.
especially I think the other thing is that you really need speakers that can really highlight it.
Highlighted, yeah.
And we have that.
And those Steg mid ranges are very capable. So
Yeah.
yeah, there may be something, but I experienced it with Thomas, and he told me also for certain clienteles, he makes special RCA cables made of silver, and it does the trick. So, but you need something that can highlight it as
that's
well,
the trick. We
I
have
think.
no RCAs,
Oh, maybe, maybe.
but we are Bluetooth
Yeah,
streaming still.
Direct, yeah. And that's
We are
very
Bluetooth
good,
streaming,
yeah,
but honestly,
yeah.
it's ridiculous what
You
the
don't
car
have
is doing.
cables to go to the amplifier, so I always believe
Yeah,
it's
we cut that
directly
out.
on the board, so it's always better. Yeah. Yeah, it's beyond my dreams. Yeah. I could stay all night up now.
If I just look at the last 3.5 years we've been working together with Eddie, how many things we improved in fabrication and installation, efficiency,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
I wouldn't say that we build cars to a higher standard when it comes to sound quality, because even 3.5 years ago we had cars rolling out from the shop at the same level in terms of sound quality.
Yeah.
I think we improved on installation big time overall, but if you think about it, you know, if you put so much effort and passion into something, anything you do,
Yeah.
after a while you will
Yeah.
step
Oh,
further.
always, yeah.
But
If
even
you
three
take
and a
it
half years,
serious, if you take it serious, then,
even 3.5
yeah.
years ago, we
Yeah.
were at a very high standard.
Yeah.
And where can we be? People keep asking me, Pete, what do you think? Where are you going to be in 5 years, 10 years?
Yeah.
Maybe we, like now I feel like we opened an extra door.
Yeah. That's what I mentioned: location, application, tuning, and also how it's built, solid mounted. And once we started last Monday, I could already see this ain't no joke, you know, how everything was built solid and putting so much effort in it. It always will help, you know.
Yeah.
It's location, application, tuning, mounting, rigid, solid, all those things really matters. And you will spend more time in it, of course, and you have to be serious about it.
Yeah.
That's also a thing.
Like in the first impression video, you know, we recorded a few hours ago for the guys on Patreon.
Yeah.
We showed and explained that you would never be able to get this mid-range performance from a pillar. There's just zero chance
You try
to get
aim
anywhere
them
close to
the
what these mids do.
windscreen as possible. You did all the extra effort to get there.
It's as close to the windscreen as it can be. It's a bit higher.
Yeah.
Cosmetically, I'm not over the moon, but also we have to do what we can within
the time frame we have
and what the car gives. Because if we had, you know, another week and we say we can do whatever we want, we could blend it into the dash completely and then retrim the whole dash as one. That would be amazing. But of course, this is an add-on. This is.
I have a spare dash still.
You can do it. You know, you understand now. You can do it. Bring it when it's done.
But it needs to be closer to the windscreen, right? So and higher up. So you will always have that step up.
But it's playing.
Yeah.
It's playing crazy.
I'm happy to invite everybody who is in UK when I'm around. Come pop over. You can listen to it.
If you shut your eyes,
that was.
You won't tell that anything is missing in this car. When you open your eyes, you will debate how on earth is it possible without mid-bass speakers in the car. Because that's the other thing.
But that's also about tuning, right?
And the rest of the components having that level of quality and the quality of installation, those do the trick. It's mad. Okay. I already called Clary that I will get home late. It was pretty obvious. Plus, I knew it. I knew it previous days that
you
it
told
didn't
me
have
already.
the progress.
In one video you said it also, the daily update. Friday I will have a long day.
That was given. That was given. But now I feel like we shouldn't eat at this time of the day. But holy shit. Time is going crazy. Maybe we don't eat. Because I told Clara we'll just jump in the car and go out, eat in KFC or something that's still open, come back and then do the rest. And we just go home and stay hungry, and then wake up and we will eat everything. We will eat a table. the chair, anything around us. But yeah, I just wish that more people can have this experience. At least if now some people will have the chance to hear your car, yeah, they will get an idea why we are talking bullshit for like 40 minutes.
No, it's not bullshit. I think many people can get very good advice out of it, or experience, or whatever, inspiration. But to be fair, I want to add something to this. When I started, I was like, buying so much gear and blah blah blah, and never got started with building. I have like, at the moment, like now my collection is got a bit thin, but I have like 30 car audio amplifiers sitting. How many subwoofers I can even count it, and so many speakers,
Collector.
components and blah blah blah. Buying them. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff.
So now we can sell everything, yeah?
Don't do it. No, yeah. Don't do it. Just save up your money, get the car, start with deadening and blah 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 that you have to do, rattles and everything, because while I was here I had used a lot of tape, like 3 rolls of Tessa tape everywhere, blah blah blah. I took my time, and that also makes a difference. You don't want a system with rattles. Come on,
At the beginning, when we turned the front sub on, I wanted to see how well we managed to make it rigid and hear anything rattling, and the sub and the location of the sub had no noise. It was the headliner, the trunk and other things, because just like when you have a sub at the back, it's gonna have the biggest loading at the front, the opposite side of the cabin. Same way, now the front sub has the biggest loading at the back, and you're like, what the heck is rattling at the back? And but yeah, at the front we have no buzz, no nothing, and it's just beautiful that all we hear is just clean sound, and the hardware just this way just disappears.
And that's one thing why I took my time today and the last week to put so much effort in the front part to get everything isolated, and then no heart-to-heart surface and blah blah blah, to get it somewhat perfect as possible.
But we also said it with Eddie that this car was coming from the era when they built the car. Why are my fingerprints not
because this foam is so old. When you touch it, it will stay there. It won't go.
So we have to massage it. Massage it to bring it back.
It won't come back.
So I can draw a penis,
maybe.
But I was just pressing things here, like when you press the plastic bits. Hang on.
A bit, but
there's nothing.
22 years
in other cars. You just do this.
Don't go there.
It shows there as well. And this doesn't buzz.
So now I open up the boot and everything, when I started the first stage, this is the second stage, I was paying also so much attention to deaden and decouple and whatever, isolate stuff, because once you want a really good system, you don't want to have rattles in it. That's the basic,
Yeah, that makes me open the door and step out, of course.
I get crazy about those things, You heard.
And even in mine, probably next week I have to take my parcel shop out. Because after we noticed it in Hungary, especially after a year and a half, something has built up, and I have to find it. I have to trace it down.
From the beginning, I was thinking it's the stuff that was in the back, because you had plastic water bottles and everything. So I was assuming that it was that, but it started to build up, because when you first got the car, I never experienced something like that in the car. But it will be addressed, so no worries about that.
Wow, my car is going through some base damage all the time too. Sometimes there are serious levels pumping, and that makes things move, and
plastics wear out,
come loose.
Yeah.
Plus the roads. Yeah. Okay. We still have to do an RT evaluation of your car. You have to show it to the guys on Patreon. And then whatever we do, I don't even know what we do. We took so many short videos. I want to make a reel out of this whole thing. People can see what's happening here, what we did. People would say, "Oh, you're hyping this car up now."
Oh yeah, we're hyping it.
We are hyping this car up now, because you really have to hear this car.
Come to Brighton, I will show you, or Peter will demo the car for you. It's no problem.
It's mad.
Yeah.
Okay. Fun to go.
Don't forget location, application, tuning, solid mountings, rigid mounting, and people who know to build it. You know, you will.
We
get
have to
there.
make that T-shirt.
Yeah, location, application, tuning, solid mounting, rigid mounting. People who don't bullshit. You know, don't cut corners. Build even a solid front setup for yourself. Don't go full crazy. Everything you do, just do it solid, you know? Take your time, follow the book.
Oh, I'm gonna play this to
Yeah.
you. This thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the first. I don't know. I can't show this title. It's not
Yeah.
gonna through the camera. Is it gonna focus on it?
I hope.
That song, it shows. Petra Magoni. Il camello e il dromedario. Whatever it means. They have the live album, that's amazing, but then this song I have downloaded because studio recording, but the first 2 seconds, the way the guy pulls that bow has such resonance and resolution, it's crazy. And then in a car that does this performance too, it's mega. Okay, listen to a few more songs and then
Goodbye, people. Thank you very much.